Okay, so good day, everyone, and welcome to my webinar this week's. It is the Monday's highlights of the week. So this is Bretton's Academy, Bretton Financial Trading Academy. Let me just enlarge this PPT right here. All right, so we will be conducting this webinar every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are fixed scheduled dates for webinars by Bretton Financial Trading Academy or Bretton Academy. So then I just want to show you guys this disclaimer here. This is an essential part that I need to present every time I have an academy. So, when I have an academy's webinar. So here we've got my contact detail, kenny.simon@bretton.academy. You can reach us also via our Facebook page, Bretton Financial Trading Academy, BFTA. We've got a little bit about who is Bretton Financial Trading Academy or what it is. And then we've got a bit of a disclaimer right there. And this is for education's purposes only. By all means, it's not, a sign of exact advice on financial. So we are not held responsible for your trading, but here we are in the educational side of it to actually provide you with as much education mentorship as possible, realistically to the market's risk. Okay, so all right, so let's get started. Now, the highlights of the week ahead from the 8th to the 12th of March 2021. So it happens every Monday. So the highlights of the week or the week ahead webinar, it's on Mondays. Wednesdays, we'll talk a little bit about troubleshooting your trades, the trades for the week. And Fridays is more of a market wrap up of what has actually happened. And we are planning ahead a little bit for the week ahead. So now we're talking about latest happenings as well. So we've got the market at the moment. It's moving quite highly in terms of volatility, and it's driven by last week's NFP figures on Friday, which basically seen a 379 jobs created. But of course, we've got some governors that have actually mentioned about their worry or concerns about 9 million more people that basically does not have a job. So we are seeing the movement bullishness of the US dollar. So for those of you who are trading gold as well, you want to always relate your goal movements or your goals prediction with what's going on in the market, especially US economy, political and geopolitical situation there in the US, because it then drives the USD indexes, it drives US stocks, it drives the US dollar, of course. So this is where we want to always have a bit of a link. They also have actually indicated their sort of aim or objective or even target to create at least 1 million jobs, so quite aggressively. So why I'm saying these 3 pointers here is that last week's announcements, even the ADP and last week's data releases, including the one that's latest on Friday for NFP, has collectively given a positive bullish sentiment for the US in general and also for the US dollar. So the USD index as well, highlighted by some of the traders today, has actually definitely been on the upside, and that is driving a lot of USD crosses going upwards or bullishly. Okay, so this is a good sign, and that is basically going to give us a bit of a guidance in terms of which pair, which USD crosses could we actually pick for today's trading, as well as knowing a little bit about your goals trading position that should actually be on the downside. So it is actually experiencing bearishness at the moment because of the dollar strength, and the US economies in general are actually strengthening at the moment. Okay, so that is just the fundamental happenings at the moment, and we want to also look for today and the whole week, especially as well, to look at where we are going to be concentrating on which pair, which instruments, which currencies that would actually be driven by high impact economy data. So the economic data to actually look at from today onwards are your BOE governor speech. I think it will begin tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, or was it today? Not 100%, but I've collectively given you here on what data that would actually impact the whole movement of this week. So under economic data, you want to look at what comes out from the UK. So it may come up first with a high impact data just from the governor's speech, and then the governor's speech, after it has actually completed, all the other data on the other days would actually revolve around what the governor has actually spoke about. So that would actually then impact pound. Okay, so pound is actually looking quite positive at the moment. So we've got a question on today. Yes, thank you for confirming that, Alfred. So yes, so we've got the Bank of England's governor's speech today. So today we are looking at the movement of the pound starting from today. So that's about, yes, 6 p.m. So it's about probably about half an hour's time, I would think. So we are already seeing a lot of movement. So we want to go through all these pointers, and then we want to match it up with what would actually be going on. Already half an hour ago. Okay. Yes, you're right. It's 12:30. Correct. So it's yes, I calculated it a little bit um wrongly. So okay, good. So yeah, so we are, hence the reason we want to look at the heat maps as well in a bit, just to match that up with what we expect from the economic data, as well as speeches that are of high impact. So the way I look at the economic data is that I don't pay any attention to the numbers and the consensus, and all that is really not necessary. You just want to filter out the data based on high impact. High impact news basically means that it will drive interest of buyers and sellers to create liquidity in the market and volatility in the market. So it's like petrol, it's like fuel to the market. Only with fuel of the market through economic data, or even central banks announcements and decisions, are the only way to actually profit consistently when there is participation in the market. So sometimes we find that when we trade, it's just too slow and not moving, and then it goes sideways, and then we are not sure whether it will go back to our direction or it will correct. All that usually happens when we are not confident enough to actually trade in a high volatility, high liquidity environment. So the economic data and speeches and central banks ones that are high impact, they are only as fuel. I mean, for me, how I trade is I use them as a fuel to participate in the market, because the big boys are moving the market. But I don't use the news as an entry and exit. I use the patterns and technical side of it for entry and exit and stop losses and all that. But then to pick the right pair, to actually choose the baseline of which one should we actually pick, which pair, and what the trend is, I look at the fundamental side of it, economic data, news, and various other things. Okay, so when you do a fundamental type analysis, you want to look at the economic data for high impact news, of course, but then secondly, we want to also ask ourselves whether or not we have got central banks announcement, or anything has got to do with central banks, whether they are rate decision rates, or whether they are speeches from the governor of the bank. Like today, we've got the BOE governor speech that comes under central banks, because central banks and the data, economic data and all that is separated. Then you've got central banks announcements, and anything that's got to do with interest rate, FOMC, Federal Reserve, all that comes under central banks one. So we have got central banks for the week. So that includes the European side of it, the European Central Bank. So that would impact the euro, of course, concerning about 11 countries in the European zone. And then we've got the Royal Bank of Australia, RBA. So that's why we have seen the AUD as well moving quite a lot. So I want to talk a little bit about that as well. Then we have got Federal Reserve's Operation Twist and all that bond buying and selling. They are buying long-term bonds and selling selling short-term bonds at the same time. That's why it's called Operation Twist. They're trying to twist the model a little bit, but this is just easing going on. So this is another name for the US to say that they are pumping money in, they are printing money in. That's all it says, and this has got to do with their bonds. So a lot of things are happening with the 1.9 trillion as well coming into the market, and then together with the Operation Twist, and then with so many things. The 1.9 trillion dollars is for COVID relief, and then we have got very good job numbers as well. Then we've got the plan to actually buy bonds and sell bonds and basically stabilize the model of economy. So all these things are very, very positive for the US dollar and for the US in general. So it will take time for the correction of US dollar to drop now and then for gold to go up. No, now it's the time for gold to go down and US dollar and all the US crosses to actually go up. But then we want to then use technicals to time ourselves of when we want to actually enter for which pair. We want to confirm the trend as well. And then we want to actually timely enter the market, exit the market, and also apply stop losses. Okay, so there you go. You've got that. Next, we want to then look at, this is all going to be before we go into the charts. So we've got, as what I have seen, using some trend indicators, not indicators, like heat maps and things like that. I've noticed that we have got a lot of GBP participation into the market. So there's a lot of liquidity, volume, participation. Trend is one thing, participation is another thing. Okay, we want both of them to actually be together. We want the trend to be strong, and we want to have the participation, people going into the market to buy or sell that particular pair, to be high as well. We don't want the trend only to be strong, but then there's no participation in the market. And that's how you will get correction, you'll get sideways market and things like that. So as of today, what I have noticed is that we are seeing a lot of bullishness, liquidity, volume, trend liquidity, and volume of trading concerning the GBP, the AUD, and NZD. But GBP is the only bullish ones now, picking up a lot of bullishness, maybe because of the reaction with the governor's speech as well. Okay, so this will then lay out a foundation for the pound traders to actually be steady into what do you call that, preparing themselves for more trading of the pound, because they want to start off with today's governor's speech, moving the market with volatility in the pound. So we've got a lot of bullishness to expect in the GBP, and then we've got a lot of bearishness to expect for both AUD and NZD. So this is still not enough to just go onto your chart and start trading. This is not enough at all. This is just the foundation, to actually prepare ourselves to be alert of what's going on in the market. Then we have to go onto your technical charts on different time frames, and then you do your technical analysis and your trend analysis once more. This is just a surface only at the moment at stage one. So we have not really gone into the decision-making process of saying that we're going to buy that, sell that, this is the price and all that. So not yet. We've not gone to that stage. So then we've also got top 3 highly traded pairs as well. Again, it concerned the GBP and the NZD, and also the USD and the JPY. But then top 3 traded pairs for today are the GBP NZD, NZD USD, NZD JPY. You notice that here I don't actually give you what they are actually doing, because some of them, most of them are actually buying the GBP, NZD and all that. But it doesn't mean that these top 3 that are traded today, if most of the traders, investors are actually trading GBP and ZD and they were buying, doesn't mean that you need to go and buy. But what you would need to do is to also put up all these pairs and the crosses here and the pairs here as well to actually analyze further. So we need to analyze further on the technical chart so that we know that these are the ones that are concentrated by traders, investors, that has got firstly the trend, liquidity, and the volume. We need all these 3 to to be present in any pairs that we are actually choosing. Okay, so then I present to you some clearly trending pairs as well. So you will see that some pairs here will actually collide or match with the pairs that we've mentioned here and some pairs that we've mentioned here. Okay, but then what you would then need to do is these pairs here that I've highlighted under clearly trending pairs are pairs that we can actually do a further technical analysis on, because these pairs have got a clear trend in most of the time frames, from 30 minutes right up to maybe daily, monthly, or weekly as well. So I like to see that, because we have got more chances to actually conduct more technical analysis on these pairs. So we have got these on USD CHF now. It's growing in its trend liquidity as well on both Asian sessions as well as now in the European session or the UK session as well. Okay, so we have got USD CHF on a bullish, Euro USD on a bearish, GBP NZD bullish as well. Both AUD CAD and NZD CAD are trending bearishly. And when I say trending bearishly, I've also checked on the technical side of it as well as the fundamental side of it. So both actually matches with strong trend. Okay, so here it's strongly bullish, strongly bearish, and things like that. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs to actually consider and look into it deeper. So I will, throughout the day, look into these pairs and then release signals specifically for each pair on each video. So that would actually be then more concentrated onto how did I come up with these pairs, how do I plan to actually enter, exit, and put the stop loss, what pattern have I actually found. Sometimes no pattern, so then we use purely price action as well, and then support, resistance levels, and various other things. So this is where we want to concentrate on which one to actually look at as well. Okay, so I'll just do a little bit of a sample first on USD CHF onto the chart. So we will look into that. Before that, we want to also talk a little bit about Euro USD. It has actually just hit the TP there on a very nice geometric ABCD pattern right there. So that should actually hit your TPs as well for those who have actually sold and plan the trade according to the patterns as well that we have talked about. Okay, on gold, for example, we had loads and loads of opportunities for the sell side of it. We had various ABCD patterns, bearish ABCD patterns as well. So now we are expecting a little bit of correction in within this zone area. So I'm looking at 1678.49 as an area that may be a strongish type support, but all these blue areas zone here are possible, probable support areas. So what I'm saying is that if you are selling, it's probably best to actually exit roughly at 1680, okay, area. This, I know it's 1678.49, but we don't need to actually wait too long. I mean, just to leave it like that may be actually a bit risky because of the USD strength at the moment picking up quite well. And also we just started the GBP pound session as well. The UK session, UK trading session have just opened, not long ago, 1 hour, 2 hours ago. And basically the US Open hasn't started yet. So it's only a couple of hours until the US Open starts. So then it's probably better for you to exit at 1680. Even earlier would actually be better, just so that you are on the safe side for it not to experience more liquidity during the US Open. Okay, so that is on the gold side of it. We've also got Euro CAD. Now, Euro CAD, I'm expecting a little bit more drop based on this pattern right here, a bearish ABCD pattern, for it to drop a bit more and then to take profit at 1.4990. Okay, so there you go. That is for the Euro CAD. And then we just want to sit and wait and see what happens after that, whether there are more patterns, and then whether or not the Euro is much weaker than the CAD as well. Then we can write along the trend much more later on. Okay, so I just want to show one sample on USD CHF, and then I will produce individual videos to actually look at trade ideas for each one that I've actually mentioned earlier on. Okay. All right. So we see that on the 1 hour chart, USD CHF, very simple. It is still trending to the upside. Very, very clear. We've got the 50, the 100, and the 200 EMA. So we've done a little bit of due diligence in terms of research on the trend and all that outside of the chart. So we looked at the heat map, and the heat map is telling us a lot of concentration of bullishness of the USD CHF, which is good. And then now we are on the chart. Now, when we're on the chart, we need to do again a trend analysis on the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily. So it is best for you to have at least 3 lines here always. You can add another line, which is the 8 EMA as well, but the basic ones needs to be there are the 50 EMA, the 100, and the 200 EMA. Okay, so once we've got that, we look at it on the 1 hour chart first, and we can see that most of the candles are trending and trading above all 3 lines, and all these 3 lines are very clear to the upside and very nicely trading like a river flowing upwards, okay, towards the sky. They're not touching each other. Even on the 4 hour chart, it's looking really good. And then when you look at the daily chart, then what we can then see is we've got a little bit of sideways type movement already. So then we know that it is best to look into buying opportunity for USD CHF up to the 4 hour, but not to leave it too long. So it's probably best for us to trade intraday and to either trade 1 hour chart or the 4 hour chart. But then now, once we have decided that we might want to buy and it might have some trading opportunity on up to the 4 hour chart, we then need to ask the question of where it could potentially reverse. So we want to look for to the left and look at whether or not the current price right now is close to any previous prices that has actually fallen or previous resistance area. Okay, so now here, for example, as price goes up and up and up, it could reverse here, right? It was a big fall, nice strong fall there. So that it needs to be respected as a resistance. But then closer to that, we've got this area right here. Also, price has actually fallen at that level. From that level, price has actually fallen all the way down to 100 plus pips. Okay, down. So that is sort of like a very close type high, swing high that we need to pay attention to. So we use that resistance area to do a resistance zone, and it's based on the highest wick right there. Okay, right, and the highest body right there. Okay, so I don't want to get very what do you call that, excited about the buy yet. Okay, so that is very important for us to understand that. And give me a second, let me just one second. All right, so yeah, just replying a call. Okay, so we've got a bit of the zone going on right there. Okay, so once we've got that zone, that is your resistance zone. Okay, so it is important for us to look at okay, once we've got that area right there, we see that the top line is at 93.31. So 93.31, it's a little bit unsafe for us to plan any buy there. So we need to look at another level, which is 93.50. So your 93.50 would actually be your psychological level right there. Give me a second. So 93.50. So I would think that the safest, what do you call that, price to actually buy would be your 93.60. So 93.60 onwards would probably be a safer area. So we need to wait a little bit, not to get too excited with the current uptrend of USD CHF, but to actually think wisely of a trend pickup only above 93.60, wait till the candle goes there, or do a pending order at 93.60. And then you want to look to the left again to actually see above 93.60, where could it potentially be reversing, or based on a strong single mother candle, a bullish mother candle as well, could actually give you a little bit of a hint. So we have got something there. This is based on a 4-hour chart. So here we have got a bullish candle that went up to the 9385 area. So it's not really a nice area. I mean, it's nice, but it's just got about 10 pips or so to actually take. So this is giving us a hint that we need to not be too excited with buying USD CHF at the moment, because we've still got another few hours to go before the USD open session starts. Okay, so yeah, look out for my next videos. I will produce short videos for each one pair that I will be giving out the exact entry, exit, and stop loss as well. Okay, any question at all, Alfred? If you have any questions? No questions? Ah, yes. Okay, no problem. Brilliant. Yeah, when we say it went up, it went down, we need to look at which time frame is it. I mean, whether it goes up or down, it will do that naturally. But for us as trader, when do we want to buy and when do we want to sell, and then we leave it, and that is the more important, because what goes up and down can actually happen on various time frames. Yeah. So it's not important what goes up and down. It will go up and it will go down, but then whether or not it's reflecting our trade idea and our decision of buying and selling, that's the most important thing. Like for now, I'm not bothering whether it will just drop all the way down or go up at this moment of time, because I've not even placed a pending order trade or decide what to actually do yet, because I see that it's reversing. And I see that on the left, it has got areas that it might want to reverse. And if it does go up, it may go up based on a single previous bullish mother candle, but that mother candle is not powerful enough to go up. So I may not see a trending trading opportunity as yet for USD CHF, for me, for us traders specifically. So whatever the market is doing at the moment, it will actually do what it needs to do. So it might actually just drop later on, like now, or start to rise, but it all depends on what's going on in the market at the moment. Okay. All right. With that, I think you guys can look out for my next videos during the day, and I will send that link out to the groups as well. Okay. For that, thank you very much. Thank you, Alfred. Take care. And we'll be in touch again. Thank you. Bye-bye.